The fluorescent lights buzzed softly in the quiet elementary school hallway, the kind of hum that becomes invisible to those who hear it every day. Marcus Tate pushed his mop across the linoleum, the rhythmic swish of water blending with his low whistle, a tune he couldn't quite place but felt right for the moment. It was late, the kind of late where the world feels like it's holding its breath. The classrooms were dark, the kids long gone, except for one. In the corner of the gymnasium, where Marcus was headed to finish his rounds, sat little Amara. She was 9, with bright eyes that seemed to hold stories bigger than her small frame. Her wheelchair was parked by the bleachers, her sketchbook open on her lap, pencil dancing across the page. Marcus had seen her there before, waiting for her mother to pick her up after some after-school program or another. She was always alone, always drawing, always smiling despite the way her legs didn't move like the other kids. "Hey, kiddo," Marcus called, leaning his mop against the wall. "Whatcha drawing tonight?" Amara looked up, her grin wide enough to light the dim gym. "A dragon. It's got 3 heads and sparkly wings. Wanna see?" Marcus chuckled, wiping his hands on his worn janitor's uniform before crossing the room. He crouched beside her, studying the intricate lines of her drawing. "That's some serious talent, Amara. You're gonna be famous one day, I bet." She giggled, shaking her head. "Nah, I just like drawing." Marcus stood, stretching his back. He was 38, with calloused hands and a life that hadn't gone quite as planned. A single dad to his own daughter, Lila, who was probably at home right now, eating cereal for dinner and waiting for him to finish his shift. He didn't have much, but he had heart, and Amara seemed to sense it. She always did. "You know," Marcus said, glancing at the empty gym, "this place is too quiet. How about some music?" Amara's eyes lit up. "Can we dance?" Marcus hesitated. He wasn't much of a dancer, and Amara's wheelchair made the idea tricky. But her excitement was infectious, and he couldn't say no to that smile. "All right, let's figure this out." He pulled his phone from his pocket, scrolling through his playlist until he found something upbeat, a funky pop song Lila loved. The music filled the gym, bouncing off the walls. Marcus took Amara's hands, spinning her chair gently, moving with her in a way that felt less like dancing and more like joy in motion. She laughed, her voice echoing, and Marcus couldn't help but laugh too, twirling her wheelchair in careful circles, dipping low to match her height. Unbeknownst to Marcus, a woman stood in the shadowed doorway of the gym, her tailored coat and sharp heels out of place in the humble school. Evelyn Harper, Amara's mother, watched in silence. Her face was unreadable, but her eyes, sharp, calculating, took in every detail. She'd built a billion-dollar tech empire from nothing, her life a series of calculated moves and hard-won victories. But this, her daughter's unfiltered happiness, sparked by a janitor in a faded uniform, was something she hadn't calculated. The music faded, and Marcus slowed Amara's wheelchair to a stop, both of them catching their breath between bursts of laughter. "You're a natural, kid," he said, ruffling her hair. "Next time, you're teaching me some moves." Amara beamed, clutching her sketchbook. "Promise." "Cross my heart," Marcus said, making the motion over his chest. He glanced at the clock on the gym wall, 8:47 p.m. "Your mom's running late again, huh? Want me to wait with you till she gets here?" Amara nodded, her smile softening. "She's always busy. But she'll come." Marcus didn't pry. He'd heard whispers about Amara's mother, some high-powered CEO who jetted around the world, leaving Amara with nannies and teachers most of the time. He didn't judge. Life was hard, and people did what they had to. He knew that better than most. His own ex had left when Lila was barely 2, and he'd been scraping by ever since, working double shifts to keep the lights on. If Amara's mom was out there building an empire, well, that was her fight. Marcus just wished Amara didn't have to wait so often. He grabbed a couple of chairs from the bleachers, setting one up for himself and parking Amara's wheelchair beside it. Tell me about that dragon, he said, settling in. Does it have a name? Zephyr, Amara said proudly. He protects people. Like you. Marcus raised an eyebrow, chuckling. Me? Nah. I just clean floors. Zephyr sounds way cooler. You're cooler than you think, Amara said, her voice serious in that way kids sometimes get. You make people happy. Like me. Marcus's throat tightened. He wasn't used to compliments, especially not ones that hit so deep. Before he could respond, a soft click of heels echoed from the doorway. He turned, and there she was, Evelyn Harper, stepping into the light. She was striking, not just in her polished appearance but in the way she carried herself, like someone who'd learned to command rooms long ago. Her dark hair was pulled into a sleek bun, and her eyes, a piercing green, locked onto Marcus with an intensity that made him feel like he was being scanned by some futuristic machine. He stood, wiping his hands on his pants instinctively, though they were already clean. Ms. Harper, he said, nodding politely. Amara's all ready to go. Evelyn's gaze flicked to her daughter, softening for a split second before returning to Marcus. I saw you too, she said, her voice cool but not unkind. Dancing. Marcus shifted, unsure if that was a good or bad thing. Just keeping her company, ma'am. Didn't want her waiting alone. Evelyn studied him, her expression unreadable. Amara piped up. Mom, Marcus is the best. He danced with me and looked at my drawings. Evelyn's lips twitched, almost a smile. As that's so. She stepped closer, her heels clicking against the floor. Amara, why don't you gather your things? I'd like a word with Marcus. Amara nodded, wheeling herself toward her backpack by the bleachers. Marcus braced himself, expecting a lecture. Maybe he'd overstepped, dancing with a kid who wasn't his. Maybe Evelyn Harper didn't like strangers getting too close to her daughter. He squared his shoulders, ready for whatever came. But Evelyn didn't scold him. Instead, she tilted her head, assessing him like a puzzle she hadn't quite solved. You're good with her, she said, her tone softer now. She doesn't laugh like that often. Marcus blinked, caught off guard. She's a great kid. Just trying to make her smile. Evelyn nodded, her eyes drifting to Amara, who was carefully tucking her sketchbook into her bag. She hasn't had much of that lately. I'm away a lot. Work. The word carried a weight, like an apology she wasn't used to making. Marcus shrugged, keeping his voice light. Kids are resilient. Long as they know you're there, they figure it out. Evelyn's gaze sharpened, like she was trying to decide if he was being genuine or just polite. You have children. One, Marcus said. Lila. She's 11. Keeps me on my toes. Evelyn nodded, something shifting in her expression. It's not easy, is it? Doing it alone. Marcus let out a small laugh. Nope. But you do what you gotta do. For a moment, they stood in silence, the hum of the gym's lights filling the space. Evelyn glanced at Amara again, then back at Marcus. I'd like to thank you, she said, reaching into her purse and pulling out a sleek business card. For keeping her company. If you ever need anything, work, resources, anything, call me. Marcus took the card, glancing at the embossed logo of Harper Tech, Evelyn's company. He wasn't sure what to make of it. Appreciate it, but I'm good. Just doing my job. Evelyn raised an eyebrow, a hint of amusement breaking through her composed exterior. Most people don't see dancing with a lonely kid as part of a janitor's job description. Marcus grinned, slipping the card into his pocket. Guess I'm not most people. Amara wheeled back over, her backpack slung over the back of her chair. Ready, Mom. Evelyn's face softened fully now, and she crouched to kiss Amara's forehead. Let's go, sweetheart. She glanced at Marcus one last time. Thank you, Marcus. Truly. As they left, Amara waved wildly, and Marcus waved back, his heart a little lighter. He didn't think much of the business card in his pocket, probably just a polite gesture from a busy woman. He grabbed his mop, ready to finish his rounds, unaware that Evelyn Harper was already making plans in her mind. The next week passed in a blur of routine. Marcus cleaned classrooms, fixed a leaky sink, and helped Lila with her math homework over late-night pizza. Amara was still there most evenings, waiting in the gym, and Marcus made a point to stop by, sharing bad jokes or spinning her wheelchair to whatever song was stuck in his head. He didn't see Evelyn again, but Amara mentioned her mom was super busy, with some big deal in Singapore. Then, one evening, as Marcus was locking up the school, a man in a crisp suit approached him in the parking lot. Marcus Tate, the man asked, holding out a tablet. I'm with Harper Tech. Ms. Harper would like to meet with you tomorrow. 10 a.m., her office downtown. Marcus frowned, confused. What's this about? The man smiled faintly. She didn't say. But Ms. Harper doesn't request meetings lightly. I'd be there. The next morning, Marcus found himself in a glass-walled office on the 40th floor of a skyscraper, feeling wildly out of place in his best and only button-up shirt. Evelyn sat across from him, her desk a slab of polished wood that probably cost more than his car. She didn't waste time. I've been watching you, she said, leaning forward. Not in a creepy way. Through Amara. She talks about you constantly. You've given her something I haven't been able to. Time. Joy. I want to repay that. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. I don't need repayment, Ms. Harper. I like hanging out with Amara. I know, Evelyn said. Which is why I'm offering you a job. Not as a janitor. Though you're clearly good at it. I want you to oversee a new initiative at Harper Tech. Community programs for kids like Amara. Art, music, mentorship. You'd be perfect for it. Marcus stared, his mind reeling. I'm not. I don't have a degree or anything. I clean schools. You connect with people, Evelyn countered. That's rarer than any degree. The salary would be enough to take care of Lila, maybe give you both a little breathing room. Think about it. Marcus didn't know what to say. The offer was insane. A leap from mopping floors to running a program for a billionaire's company. But as he thought of Amara's smile, of Lila's dreams of college, of the possibility of a life with fewer late nights and empty refrigerators, he felt something shift inside him. I'll think about it, he said finally, his voice steady. Evelyn smiled, a real one this time. Good. And one more thing. Amara's having a birthday party next week. She wants you there. Bring Lila. Marcus left the office in a daze, the business card in his pocket suddenly feeling like a key to a door he hadn't known existed. As he drove home, the city lights blurring past, he thought of Amara's dragon, Zephyr, protecting people. Maybe, just maybe, he could be someone's Zephyr too.